Rick Shaw here, 13th of March, 2021. We've got a little bit of overcast day. We had a nice rain again last night. Good morning. We had it was just a nice gentle rain again. Wasn't anything real big. The other night we had one too. I was watching that, I believe it's the WX weather, real good weather thing for here. Said this was coming. We had a pretty good downpour yesterday. Kids playing in the rain. It was a cloud burst. Lasted about 15 minutes. So, good morning. So, I'm just out on my cool down walk. I did my hike this morning. I like going over here to this path and just going back and forth because I don't have to listen to all the dogs barking at me. But I wanted to say a little bit about the weather here. A lot of people, some comments I saw, they were talking about, they got to stay in the air conditioning and all this stuff. First off, I hate it. Getting air conditioning in a new place is a concession to my wife. She'd like to have it. I don't like it. I got a really good cooling system. I sweat a lot. I'm just made for the heat. I can handle the cold once you learn how to dress for it in layers and stuff like that instead of one big bundling coat. And you can go out in the cold weather a lot. I went golfing with my son one time in a blizzard. The ground wasn't covered in snow and it was a real dusty snow. The fairways were open. We actually were on one hole. It's 180 yard, and I could smack a 2-iron about 260, and I hit my 2-iron about 30 yards short, straight into a wind, into a snow squall. So, but I was warm. I had on a Kmart t-shirt, one that'll dry quick. I had a Shetland wool vest, a windbreaker. I had a wool hat. I had a pair of socks on and just some Crocs, golf shoes, open. And we had places where we had to walk through the snow. We were hitting most of the irons that day to stay in the middle of the fairway. I didn't use the driver all day, and because the fairways were clear, but the rough had some snow sitting on, and I was afraid of losing the ball. So learn how to layer your clothes in that freezing cold, and you don't get cold. My son had a big coat, was messing up his swing, and he got sweaty and got cold. His feet got wet, and his tennis shoes, it just wasn't good. So, but here the weather is, I haven't had too much trouble with it. A lot of what people don't get is winter, summertime here. I don't know the difference, but there's a winter and a summer. It just changes the time of day. It goes from maybe getting dark at around 5:30, 5:45. Sometimes now getting dark at a little after 6:15. But you got to remember, the hottest place I ever was at, not the Mojave out in California, but the hottest place I was ever at was in Missouri in July and August. That's the hottest. That's where you got to just sort of lay up. It's just too hot. But here, I've never been too hot. We've gone through some 100+ degree days for a week on end, and I was okay. I was fine with it. So, that's just me, though. My wife wasn't too ill affected, neither were the kids, so it was no big deal. We did go through when we were here talking about the weather. We had a hurricane hit us when we were in GMA. It was a pretty rough one. We were actually hunched down in there's the fence they're building that I could easily knock over. It's just sitting in the ground. But we were actually in the bathroom. That's like a much better built area, the corner of the house. It's tied to the fence outside, and we were in there. It was extremely loud. And that was for most of the night. Power went out. We were in the bathroom with a candle, playing with the kids, to keep them from getting scared. And we went ahead at around 10 in the morning. The eye passed over us, and the sun came out. No wind. It was beautiful. Everybody was out. It was so funny because all the tires that were on the roofs were all over the place, and roofs were all over the ground. Big trees like that one, completely uprooted. Fell on houses and stuff. and we knew the eye was going to be around for a while. I took a hike. I didn't want anyone to go. I seen people out walking in it when it was storming, and it's like, you get hit by roof sheeting, you're a goner. But it was so funny. People were picking up roof sheetings and selling it back to the people that it blew up their houses. You know, scavengers and stuff. That was kind of funny. But we went through a little place a day later. We call it the jungle. That was our walk to the store. We always walked to the store when we lived over there, even though it was half a mile. We always walked it. I had a cart that we could put our groceries in. You know, fruit. We mostly bought fruit there and stuff like that. And we'd always carry it back. My wife would always get her coconut milk there to do her stuff, and fish. We always liked to buy the fish there. Never was too big on getting the meats there. But the jungle was just hacked down. Looked like a bulldozer went through. And I told my wife, oh, this is going to take a year for this to recover. Nope. Within a couple months, it was completely grown back up like it never happened. Things heal here real quickly from that. People just take it in stride. Filipino people are very resilient when it comes to things like that and calamities and stuff. They take it a lot better than most people. Before I moved to California, my plan was to move to Florida, and this was back in the 90s. 2000s. It was 2000s, and I think it was 2003. And I went down to secure a job down in Florida. Went down to the hall down there, and oh yeah, we got plenty of work for you. I actually got known, you know, and they were like, sure, yeah, we got work for you. And they sent me over this guy. Yeah, and I said, hey, I got to run up to get my stuff. And I went down there and had 4 hurricanes in a row. I mean, just something. So needless to say, I wound up going to California. I wanted to get in the heat. I like the heat. I'm just on my cool down walk. I had another thing I was thinking about that I wanted to tell you. You know, we're doing our house thing. I have my reservation bank. They do no computer stuff. They have a computer inside that they do their stuff on, but it's not connected to the net. They're worried about it. This bank made it through the crash of '29 and everything, didn't lose a dime. They pay a pretty good interest. They got savings, checking, which I have, and but I can't write a check here for any large amount or for any amount. Nobody will take it. Even the banks don't want to touch it. It's a Canadian bank. Well, you're an American and you got a Canadian. They don't want to touch it. So, but they said they would take a bank check. So while we're doing this house, I had them sent a check. And it was, you can't cash anything over 10,000, guys. Don't even try. So I went ahead and had them send a check. Well, they took it upon themselves to throw the interest on that amount in there. So it went over and it got here. Guess what? I had to void the check and send it back. None of my banks would touch that check. And it takes a long time for them to clear it. They'll take 2-3 months to clear a check like that anyway. That's just what they do here. So know that when you come. That bank, I can't use TransferWise or anything on them. It's just the way they do things. And hey, that's just the way. I knew that when I got into the account. I figured it'd be more secure that way. So we had to go to the bank. This was months ago, just to be sure, because I know how slow that bank works, and I thought, okay, we're going to go ahead and secure a loan. So they said, okay, we're going to need all your income verification and all this, and show us your bills. Okay, fine, it's a bank. That's what they want. So we did all that, and we never heard a single word of that there was any problem. And I told my wife, hey, you better call them because we got the signing coming up here pretty soon. Another couple of weeks, we're going to be signing. And turnover, they call it here. And so, okay, so she calls. They come back and said, oh, well, something, we can't verify any of these accounts in the States. So that's a holdup now. And it's like, why did you say something a few months ago? Because I don't use TransferWise for all my funds. I use it for the bulk of it, but we use Cash Machine too. If we're out grocery store shopping, I'll go to the Cash Machine. and just take it out. It transfers it. They charge me 250 pesos, and my bank charges me $5. You know, but that way I have access to, if we need to go shopping. One time we ran out of propane, so I went and got 10,000. By the way, BPI is the only one where you can take over 10,000 out that I know of. So you can take 20 out on that. They don't hit you with so many charges. So I just do it. It's not that much more when you figure what I get charged. So I do that. Another thing that you're going to find out when it comes to these banks, I opened up a checking account. It's hard to get a check cashed here. But so what I was doing, the money was going directly into that account. And I opened it. I went into the bank, opened up the account. There's the manager lady. She opened it for me. I stick out like a sore thumb here. All the girls behind there's two teller girls, the same. The security guards are the same. All the people are working there the same for a year and a half. Well, I went in there one day, and my signature is not like my wife's. My wife has the most beautiful signature, and it's exactly the same. She could do it on trace paper, and you could put them all on top of each other, and it's the same. It's the same size. It's the same stroke. It's identical. They don't need handwriting experts here, you know, like they do in the States. Well, that day I went in there. I was a little shaken because I got bumped into by a jeepney on my tricycle. A little bit shaken, you know, because you take your life in your hands when you drive here. But so I write, sometimes my writing's like a chicken with the palsy. It's not the same. Well, these people in there that open my account, the girl goes, you got to sign 3 times here too. When you're signing a check, you got to sign 3 times. She says, sir, the signature doesn't match. I can't cash this check. I says, honey, you opened the account for me. It's me. Yeah, but sir, I can't. It doesn't match. I called the manager over. She was sitting at the desk looking because there was a holdup, you know, not a holdup of robbery, but a holdup on the line, me. I said, come on over here. I said, come on, you opened up the account. I'm a little shaken from the thing out front. It was right out in front of the bank. And I said, oh, sir, you have to sign it again. So I signed again, and it was not exactly the same. And guess what? They would not give me any money that day. They would not cash my check. So know that when you come here. If I'd have known better, I'd have just used my mark and made an X, because I think I could copy that right. But that's something you'll run into here in the Philippines. Just know that when you come, it's their way. We gotta abide by their way. But I went in the next day, and my handwriting was a little bit better, and it was no problem. And I told her, I said, look, let me do a whole bunch of signature things on your little computer, and I scribbled out some more, and then that worked out. But you don't use a checking account here much. I got 200 checks, and I still got 198, I think, or 192, I mean. So we didn't write that many checks. That nobody wants to take them here. You know, it's not like the States where a checking account is golden, but not here. I do know something when you're in the States, something I used to do when people used to write me a check. This is just a little tidbit of information for you guys in the States. I used to have in my gun shop, my name was Cash on my shirt. And I used to tell people it's like Cher, you know, just one name. And people would say, oh, what can I make this check out to? Do I make it out to the company? Or no, make it out to Cash, please. That's me, Cash. And okay, because did you know you can't put a stopper on a cash check? They can go down and pay to say, I want to stop this check. But when it comes in, it's treated like legal tender. So if somebody writes you a check for, you know, in the company's name or a personal check into your name, they can put a stopper on it, and there's nothing you can do about it. Take them to court. But if it says Cash on it, they can't stop it. So that's just a little tidbit of information I had. That's from years and years ago when I had the gun shop, because I had people want to write a check, and they'll write a bad one. People will write bad checks. It's just a terrible thing to do, and you go to jail for that kind of stuff. Here too, you know, they're very tough here. When you get into any kind of trouble, you're guilty until proven innocent, pretty much. It's just my opinion. It's what I've seen. I know, like, people get in car accidents, they go to jail. My wife had one friend who wasn't that she knows of. It was not a dope or anything, but I guess her brother was, and she just happened to be over there. And The police raided the place at that time, and she went to jail too. She was in jail for years before she finally got out. So, you know, that kind of things, those kind of things can happen here. So be wary of that. We don't have anything to do with anything like that. I'm extremely careful on the driving. I hope the good Lord rides with me every day that we get out. Plus, I got my beautiful cargo that I carry around with me pretty much everywhere I can. They're starting, I see the president, he gets on there, says we got to open up and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if there's some kind of fight going on in the political realm, but I know Tagaytay, I just saw a thing where they're, not right away, we got this COVID, it's not right away, but on the 13th, or they put a date ahead that it's curfews again, and you can't drink, and you can't even drink in your own home, get together, and just, here we go again, guys. Here we go again. They're using the you know what test, the one that's faulty. I can't say it, but and it gives false positives and all that, and they're not changing from that. And you know, it's just crazy. I see some people saying, "Oh, you got to do the mask," and some people hit me back on the messenger about all this stuff. But it's just because I'm not buying any of it, guys. That's just me. We had 6 people in here that had it, were locked in their house. And I had a thing on one of my, if you go back, it's the Dumb and Dumber guys, and one saying, yeah, I guess I got the you know what, and the shot in the, you know, the cerveza bug, and but I don't know, I feel okay, and the other one says, well, yeah, it's one of the symptoms, you don't know you have it. And these people, the one lady was confined to her house, and she was walking around just fine. You'd see her in behind the gate, and she was just fine. They blocked off the whole street. You know, it's just strange to me. It's you know, and if you start looking at death counts month by month in certain areas and countries and states and all this stuff, they've actually gone down. Now, I have a theory on this one, guys. This is just me. But I think that they're gone down because of medical malpractice. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people don't want to go in. They're afraid of getting caught up with this cerveza bug. And so they're just not going into the hospital. And I think what's happening is a lot of them aren't dying because this one reason I know of. I had a friend named Richie. He was a real good buddy of mine, big fella. And he was losing weight. And he was kind of losing his weight wrong, and his sugar got discombobulated, so he was getting funny. My buddy Jack and I, we said, hey, you should go see a doctor, because he was getting moody. It's like my wife with her diabetic problem. You know, you get moody, and so he went in. He went in, and he went to my buddy's doctor, because my one buddy had diabetes, and Jack did. And they said, you know something? Yeah, you got your sugars off. We're going to get you in. We're going to get you into the hospital for a short while, and we're gonna try to get your sugar regulated. That way you'll stay off the insulin. So he goes into the hospital. That was Thursday. We took him down there. We were at the funeral on Friday. They stuck him with a needle to do something, gave him staph infection. He's dead. Big, beautiful man, just dead. So, you know, that's why I think some of the counts are going down around the world. One guy, some stuff on my Facebook page, one guy from England did a real thorough death count, and it's down quite a bit in a lot of his areas. Some of them are up, minor though. You know, when they had the thing back in 1918, it was big. My grandfather lived through it. Said, you know, there wasn't anybody who didn't know somebody who was lost in that one. Every family was hit. And then Fauci comes out and writes a paper in 2008 that said half of them were because of wearing the masks, and they didn't have the penicillins and all that back then. So, but this isn't that way. You know, that's why I always say plan demic. You know, I don't want to get algorithms to catch me up. But it's just what's going on. But it looks like I'm starting to sense a big major lockdown coming here that was even worse than the first ones here. So, you know, and I know a lot of Filipinos don't want to take the shot and the beer. My Quatrain guys. but they just don't want it, and now they're putting a lot of things on the news that they're just stupid and uninformed and all this stuff. And I'm like, what happened to my body, my choice, guys? This is like gene therapy now. It's not a vax. They did that stuff on it to the liability. You can't sue somebody for a vaccine, so the companies are protecting themselves. But it's there's never really been any long-term trials, any kind of trials at all. If a vaccine was really going to do anything, why aren't the flu vaccines working now? That's just my question. I'm just questioning that. It doesn't seem they are. So I don't know. I just don't like the idea of metals being put into me, and now they're talking about these different things that are in there. I put a thing on the Facebook page from some lady from Cleveland who's really researched this, doctor lady, and she has a good thing. Look on the Facebook page at that one, and it's kind of scary to me. I don't want anyone to force me into doing anything, because once they force you into doing one thing, then they're going to start forcing you into doing all kinds of things. And just because somebody's up there leading the way doesn't mean they're any good. Just take a look at Schumer, Pelosi, and a lot of those people up there. What are they still doing there? Something's up with that. I mean, are there that many people still going after these same people that I'm starting to think are a little bit wacko? Look what's happening at the southern border in the States. Why'd they do that? Why'd they stop that? Texas is taking it upon themselves to finish their wall. It's just now they're just coming in like crazy. And if these people in the states that say it's so bad, all these liberals and socialist types, which leads to communism, when they start saying it's so bad, how come so many people from around the world want to come to the States? They want to cross the border illegally and do all that kind of stuff. And one thing I think people should stop doing is calling them immigrants. Stop doing that. They're not immigrants. They're illegals, period. And I seen that when I was in California, when I first lived there. There was a Mexican dude, and he had a wife with 7 kids, a good-looking little girl, and beautiful kids. And I'd see him out sweeping the lot every day. I assumed he worked there. He was sweeping the lot. So one day I was sitting there after work having a beer. Hey, come on up, have a beer. So I give him a beer. Got to talking to him, befriended the guy, and I just thought, hey, this guy's working for a low amount and all this stuff. Well, as I got to know him, he said, oh, no, I don't work for them. I just sweep so I have something to do. I get welfare. They pay for everything, man. You're stupid for working. You're stupid for working is what he told me. Man, I'll tell you what, you never seen anybody snatch a beer out of somebody's hand so fast. You get the hell out of here, you bum. That's just what they're just bums. They come in there and they take all the stuff, and who pays for that? We do, working folk. So it's just terrible. It's just to me, it's just not right. And this last bill they just put through had a whole bunch of money for those folks. There's lots of things on there where they gave them even all the way back to Obama, where they gave them Social Security and stuff, and they can send money to their dependents back in Mexico and all this stuff. And I'm not seeing anybody denying that. So it starts to look like there's an inkling of truth in that. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Look it up yourself. I just like to blather, I guess, and talk to you guys. But still is a nice place. It's starting to warm up a little bit. I don't think it's gonna be too rainy today. The sun's cracking through the clouds now. I think it'll crack it wide open. I don't believe we're gonna get a whole lot of rain. We might get a shower burst like we did yesterday, but it's very still right now. There's hardly a breath of wind. It's a beautiful morning. I do love this place. I know some people hit me, some of the Filipinos, these 2 of them that are hit me on, why don't you go back to your own country, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, this is where I live. My family's here. I want to raise my children here. I personally, you Filipinos that are knocking me, I think my kids are going to do a lot better here than they're going to do in the States with the public schools and all that, because private schools were just so expensive. We've got a tutor comes in, costs me about 6,000 pesos a month, and we feed her. She's a sweetheart. She's part of the family now. I wanted her to accelerate the kids' learning, and that's what she's doing. I want them to just keep throwing that stuff at them hot and heavy. I remember a time, I said this in a video before, but a lot of you new guys didn't hear it. But there was a fellow on the radio. He said for a month or so, he's gonna put this test out on his website, and wants everybody to take it and see how well you do. And I want to get as many people from all walks of life to take this test. And if there's any college professors or anybody, well, the test was done, and the grading score, and they went by the grading score of this test. He didn't make any of this stuff up. The grading score was 100 was an A, 99 was a B, 98 was a C, 97 was a D, and anything below that was failure. And D was considered failure also. So I took the test myself. I got a 42 on it, is what I got on the test. And it took months to do the grading because a lot of people took the test, college professors and stuff. Nobody, not a single person passed that test, not one. And when it was all done, he said it was a test in 1912, New York City School District, for the kids to be able to go to high school. It's a 6th grade test to go to high school. So it can be learned. You know, these teachers unions get in there and they're getting lazy and complacent, and they just want to say, we can't teach these kids. Johnny can't read. That's your job. If you can't teach, go find something else. I ran into a teacher when I put my kids in private school, and hey, why don't you go get a job as a garbage collector? You know, and I got put out. I got put out of the school for that one. But you know, if they can't teach, you know, I always think of that movie with John Candy, where he was taking care of the kids on an emergency when the family had to go away, and when he was talking to that teacher, and he was saying, why don't you take this quarter and go down and have a rat and all that thing off your face? You know, he was a dried up prune, and that's what you see a lot of. You know, they should rotate those people in and out, change up their thing. One of the things as an electrician I loved is that I was doing something different every day, and these people get in there and they're getting more and more rules that they can't do this to the kids and that. When I was in school, if you got out of line, you got up, either you were sent down to the vice principal's office and you got paddled, or they did it right there in the class. There was nothing. I remember the Catholic nuns, they carried this triangle-shaped ruler that we were learning off of. And if you got out of line, they smacked you in the knuckles with that thing. Nobody said anything, and guess what? There was no unruliness in the class because there was no. It was like instantaneous. You screwed up, you got nailed. Period. And I think that's something they should go back to. Now they say, oh, you know, you can't hurt my baby and blah blah blah. Well, if you put him in school, you better make him mind. Now my son Geronimo got very unruly when he was doing school the other day, and I said, you're done. Maddie, get in here, take his place. And I took him in, and hey, he got a whack. That's just all there is to it. Sometimes his mom, they'll go over on her. I mentioned in the last video, they'll go overboard on her sometimes because she threatens them and doesn't do anything. I don't do that. It's instantaneous with me. It's the way I learned. And guess what? He's fine with it. He came up and he was sorry and gave me a big hug and all that. And then a little bit later, he went in and finished his studies. And he likes it. But he's not going to be the boss there. You know, you can't be the boss everywhere you go. You have to work up to that. And he thinks he can be the boss. And I'm not. No, sorry. That teacher, you do as she says. You know, she's me. You do as she says. And we love this little girl. She's getting married on Monday. Invited us to the wedding. We're going to go. And my wife's teasing me. She wants me to shave before. One thing here, guys, if I have a real heavy beard, it's the stubble. I mean, it's really bad. And my wife, if I give her a smooch when I shaved it, it would just make her face all red. And if, you know, I'd have to shave twice a day just to keep her happy. And it's just not good. I hate it. Another thing here, when I shave, if I get out and sweat, my face is just burning most of the day. Because when you take a razor, it doesn't just shave the hair, it shaves some of the skin off. And I hate it, guys. Sorry, I hate it. I get some people commenting, oh, you know, you ought to shave your beard, you ought to wear shit, you do all that. Well, you know something, walk in my shoes, guys. I'm just gonna let it go right now. Might get a haircut here pretty soon. It's getting kind of woolly. Usually when it gets longer, though, I had it long for quite a while, and it's easier to tame when it's longer. It's just in the bushy stage right now, so I'm gonna let it go for a little bit longer, and we'll see how it goes. But we are having a beautiful morning. You can see down here at the river, it wasn't that big of a rain last night. It was just a dusting. When I was out on my power hike this morning, it was just misting. A few drops here and there. You could have dodged them. It wasn't too bad. But I do love this place. I just have to say this again. This is where I want to raise my kids. One of the things that happened to me that made up my mind, this is where I wanted to raise my kids, was this was back in 94 or 2000. I keep saying 94. 2004, 2005. I came here and met somebody and went to the mother's place, and there was a bunch of kids, neighborhood kids, their kids, the daughter's kids and stuff like that. They were all playing in the living room. And they had this real nice little house out in the middle of nowhere. Nearest neighbor was way down the road, and the father was a coconut farmer, and they grew pepper. They had a bunch of stuff. They had veggies that they grew. They had water coming off the side of the hill where their house was. It was just kind of a quaint little place. They had a real nice pagoda out on the beach. The beach was all like gravelly seashell. It wasn't sand or anything. Another couple thousand years it'll be sand, I guess. But it was getting ready for lunchtime, and grandma, the mother of this woman, she went in there and she says, "Kid, pick up the toys, put them away, and get ready. You set the table, blah, 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 do this, do that." And these kids jumped up immediately, right in the middle of their game, and put everything away neatly. The one girl started sweeping the floor. Another one started getting all, and these were little kids from 10 to 5, and I just was very impressed with that. And that's what I want for my kids. You have to have discipline. Now, when it comes to driving, discipline goes out the window here. But generally, when it comes to Filipinos, they dot their I's and cross their T's. I mean, they're well disciplined in a lot of areas, especially when it comes to work. And it's just where I want to be. I know I warn people about the pitfalls here, but I'm not going anywhere. This is my home now. This is where they'll plant me. They'll plant me somewhere around here. But I want my kids to grow up here, and this is just a place for them. I like the idea. It is. A lot of things are expensive. Don't think that food's going to be cheaper than the States. It's some of it is. It depends on what area you're from in the States. Like if you're out in California, the fruits. One guy got on there and said, "Yeah, $20 for all that fruit. That's cheap." Well, you go out to the Midwest and you can get the same deals. So, but we go through a lot of stuff. Like the kids, I'll buy a couple kilos of bananas. I'm talking 15 bananas or 20 bananas and stuff, and that's gone in a day or two. The kids just chow them up. I'd rather give them that than candy. Mangoes. I used to buy a lot of mangoes. They'll hound me all day to eat them. And so what I do now is I buy 4 or 5 at a time, and then we just suck them all up. There aren't no more, so then they'll leave us alone. But they love their dang mangoes. Papaya. We go through papaya like crazy. I love those dang things. I did hear that's a wormer. You can chew the seeds, and it's kind of like a local wormer here. I don't know if anybody knows any more about that. Let me know. I'd like to look a lot of this up on my phone. I can get here. I'm in a dead zone. Ask Tropical Tim, guys. I'm in a dead zone. My signal, I can pick up Facebook and I can do Messenger most of the time. Not always the call. I can't do a picture call. It's just a regular Messenger. That seems to work no matter how bad it gets. But YouTube, when I upload movies, I usually have to jump in the car and drive over by the tower to upload it or go to somebody with Wi-Fi. It rarely loads here, even when I come down here, which is where I get the best signal. So looking on the web, when I go through the Brave browser or something, you can't pull anything up. And if a lot of times I want to watch a video, I like to watch videos of the sites I like, and I like to watch them all the way through, even the commercials, so that they can get their monetization if they have it. a lot of guys here are like. But a 10-minute video might take a half an hour to watch because of all the buffering, and it's a headache here. And I don't like when we go out to just sit with my face in the phone when we're visiting somebody that has Wi-Fi, so that's just the way it goes. I was watching, we were at our friend's house, and I was watching Tropical Tim, and there were a lot of comments going back and forth, people saying hi to me and stuff, but I wasn't staring in my phone, so there was big gaps where I went back and said, hey, howdy. So I just say hi all, know that I see you on there, I just don't stare into the phone and be rude when I go to somebody's house. That was one thing that was a pet peeve of mine, just like holes in your pants. One of my pet peeves when the cell phones first started coming out and somebody's phone rings in the house. Hey, that's my house. The only phone should be ringing is mine. And people think they just gotta have it. Well, something, when I was young, we didn't have any of that stuff. We just didn't have it, didn't need it. I had no desire for it. I did have an answering machine, but people started doing rotten stuff to answer machines. I had one girl I knew from work, and I called her. I never called her before, but I called her to ask her if she needed a ride because I heard her car was broke down and she was on my way. And phone picked up. Hello. I said, hey, how you doing, Sheila? It's Matt. I heard your car's. Hello. Okay. Hey, Sheila. This man. And I'm going back like this. And then after the third hello, she says, ha, I got you. This is an answer machine. Well, guess what? That chick can never get a ride from me again. That pissed me off. I didn't even talk to her at work anymore. That just pissed me off so damn bad. And it's like when people come in your house with their dang phone. It's something I can't get over. It's just so annoying to me. When I go somewhere, I want to spend time with those people. If I was going to play on my phone, then I could just stay home and spend time with them and talk to them on the phone. Which I don't. There's some people I talk to on the phone. Most of them are dead now. I used to have long conversations with my mother, my aunt up in Montreal. They're gone now. I do text a good bit with my sister, on and off. But Colin, I talk to some people a good bit. Sometimes when I do my phone's getting all goofy again, the Samsung phone. But I had that voice activated thing, which I don't know why, but for me, it never works. It spells things wrong. It gets the words wrong. So I got to sit there and text. And I don't much like that. So that's why my answers are always short. Some of these people I go back and forth with, I'd like to meet. I've met a lot of folks here, expats that are here. Mike, you're one of these days I'd like to see you. I got my buddy Jim out there in South Carolina. He's going to be coming here. I want to meet him, just like Tim. I'm not one to invite people into my house easily because of the children. You never know what you're going to get. And but going back and forth with him, I was just really impressed. And then I met him. We met him when we were out his way one time, and he came up, met with us. We ate. We spent half a day together, and just loved the guy. So we said, "Hey, you want to get out of Tano? You come on down for a visit." He was with us 4 or 5 days. The most wonderful house guest. He invited us up to his place. We probably could have stayed a week if we wanted to, but we couldn't stay because of the kids. I don't like leaving my kids. I never was one to leave my kids anywhere. I don't like to pawn them off on anybody. They're mine. They're my responsibility. I'm glad we got Grandma because you can't take them a lot of places now, and I think it's going to get worse coming up. It's terrible, like the thing with the park, being booted out of the park over here. When I see Filipino kids playing over there, I was just up there again yesterday. We walked to the end, and there was a whole bunch of them playing in there. So I just don't like it. There are some Filipinos that are prejudiced. I call it jealous prejudice, and a lot of them think we're all rich. So know that when they come here too, guys, they think we're all rich. So, and believe me, I am by no ways rich at all. So just remember to pray for each other. Don't be hating. Don't be so. I guess you'd call it woke. Everybody's getting so damn sensitive now. I remember when I was young, hey, you big asshole. You talk to people like, they just brushed it right off. Now, holy cow, you tell them you don't like their shirt and they want to kill you. and they start calling you a racist and all this stuff. Now Coca-Cola's doing this, and it's just this big media. It's the media doing this, guys. Just remember this. They want us divided. You know, united we stand, divided we fall. And if we're going to get separated by race, the only ones that are racist are the racists. You know, I mean, these people that are pumping this, they're pushing this. Me, I've known lots of people of all different colors. I take them as they come. You know, personally, in my own lifetime, knew lots of black folks. Used to go. My buddy Jim Bracey used to go fishing with him all the time. Loved the guy, his wife, and his kids. And knew, you know, I could go on with names, and I only ran into one hater black dude, and he used it. This guy used it to his advantage. He couldn't get fired. They were, even when I said, "Hey, you know, this guy isn't pulling his weight. He's not." "Oh, no, leave him. No, you can't touch him. Leave him alone." Yeah, it's like, whoa. No, if somebody's no good, get rid of him. You know, that'll teach him a lesson. You know, that'll teach him a lesson. I had, when I was very young, I had a job and I was kind of milking it and not doing really good. And you know what happened one day? A guy called me up front and said, "Hey, you're fired." My first honest paying job. And guess what? I was woke because it took me a long time to get another one. And I was hurting, and I just couldn't ask anybody for help. I just couldn't do that. And I went a lot of days where I didn't eat. Almost lost my place, but I did go talk to the landlord and told him, "Look, man, I'm looking." And he actually sent me down to a place. He said, "I know a place you can go." And I wound up getting a job there, which was really cool. And you know, so that's how it should be. That's how things should be. But the world's getting topsy-turvy right now, guys. So you know that. Anybody who is actually the honest-to-goodness woke people. I'm woke. I'm not buying a lot of this stuff that's going on. I'm just not. And you get people in there that are. I know some really good friends that are getting the shot in the beer, my Quatrain, and I'm just like, man, you're a guinea pig. You're being a guinea pig. They haven't tested this stuff, nothing. So I'd be a little bit careful. Jury's out for me on this. I'd wait. I've never been one for those kind of things, even with the kids or anybody. I remember when I was young, kids got a couple of them. Now they want to give them a Barrage 16. They want to give it to infants now. Come on, they got their mother with colostrum and all that. You don't give them that. You don't toy with them. But it's like I say, it's topsy-turvy, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Don't be hating. Pray for each other. Thank the good Lord for every breath. This is Rick Shaw out.